Hello and welcome to episode number 11 of the Marriage Coach Podcast, where we are here to help you take your relationship from surviving to thriving.
Today on the Marriage Coach Podcast, we will be discussing the Hollywood effects on marriage.
So we were discussing the effects that the Hollywood story or the storylines of Hollywood have on marriage.
Right.
And we were discussing this in regards to relationships. In Hollywood, the story is always the same, right? Boy meets girl, girl meets boy.
Right.
All of these awesome, amazing things transpire between the two of them.
Right.
They fall madly, deeply in love.
And there's always a problem in the middle.
Yeah,
in the middle
everything is great.
Yeah.
And then this horrific problem or this problem presents itself.
Yeah.
And then when the problem presents itself, there's this fallout, there's this breakup, there's
Right.
this separation, and then there's this longing. I really want to call him. I really want to call
Right.
her.
Both people want to text
Right.
the person.
I desire checking the phone. Is
Yeah.
he texting me? He's picking it up. I'm going to call. No, I'm not going to call him. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. But you're longing for that person. And then something, some way, somehow brings the two of them back together, and they discuss whatever the problem was, or the problem is now rectified, or it wasn't what you thought. And now
live happily
we
ever
can
after.
live happily
go into the
ever.
horizon. Right.
We can live happily ever after and run off into the sunset.
Right. The problem with that storyline is it's not true. It's not true. I mean, it just don't happen with marriages, because there's no happily ever after. I mean, it's always, we've been married 22 years, and it's a constant work. I mean, even throughout the years of us being married, I mean, there's been situations that we had to work through.
Absolutely.
And all these different things. And from the myth of Hollywood, I think it's a false and unrealistic presentation on what marriage is supposed to be, and we expect something that's not even true.
I agree. And it creates this persona, and we have this vision. And so when the first issue happens, we are discombobulated, because maybe we think, okay, this is going to be, like and we don't say that, but we think that it's going to be like the love story. We'll work through this and then get together. But then when it happens another time, it's like, wait a minute, this is not supposed to happen.
Right.
An argument is not supposed to happen. We're not supposed to disagree. We're in love.
Yeah.
We're happy. Everything's supposed to be perfect. Our money is supposed to be right. We're supposed to have the house, the car, 2 kids, the dog, the wonderful vacation,
the white picket fence.
Exactly. And we're supposed to fall into each other's arms, and nothing ever is supposed to happen again that's not perfect.
Right.
That's not scripted out. Nothing is ever supposed to happen again like that.
And what's the thing with Hollywood, with the Hollywood thing, it's exactly what you said. It's already written out.
It's a script.
Yeah, it's already written out from beginning to the end. I mean, it's not. I mean, let's be. And I'm not picking on any of the Hollywood, the celebrities in Hollywood. But you really think about it. I mean, in the movies, all of them have the success story. I mean, you got your Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie.
Yeah, the Mr. and Mrs. Smith. The movie.
Right. I mean, but that's what I'm saying. But in the movie, everything is perfect. Yeah. But even in reality, they had their issues. Even in the reality, I mean, we know the recent entanglement. I mean, we know that. I mean, things are not perfect. I mean, you have your Beyonce and Jay-Z. I mean, some things came out, about them. So the truth of the matter is, not picking on anybody, but there's no such thing as perfect. But there is ways that we can work on it. That is the way that we can get better as individuals, getting better as a couple, get better as a partner. Because the thing, it's about us working within ourselves. It's about us not expecting somebody else to fix us or to fix where we come from, but for you to play a part and contribute to
your life being better. It's you doing the work to work through whatever it is that's broken in you. It's you doing the work to present a better version of yourself. Is you acknowledging, what is in you versus more or less the out. Because I think what the love story does for us is it paints this picture. For instance, guy shows up, guy gives this, gives that, and he makes your situation and your life better. But that's not the way it works.
Because that's the way it happens in the movie. You have in the movie, you know, how you have this male. You have this male or female, you know, single parent, you know, raising the kids by themselves. Most of the time in the movie, you know, the spouse has passed away, and now you know, they're raising the kids by themselves. And in the beginning, you know, they'll show this dad, you know, in the kitchen trying to cook the food, and he can't cook, and so they're showing problems. They're showing all of his issues. They're showing all his issues. They're showing all his lack of.
He can't connect with his girl,
right?
So,
and so now he meets this woman, and this woman meets the child, and now the child, everything that the daddy couldn't provide, now the woman providing. So it's like this whole persona of
they're
what
gonna
marriage,
fix it. When they show up, it fixes everything.
Right, and that's what we're looking for. We're looking for somebody to fix our situation. We're looking for somebody to fix we're looking for somebody to fix us. We're basically looking for Band-Aids.
Absolutely.
But the truth of the matter is, it's not about somebody else making us better. No. It's about you making yourself better. Absolutely. It's about you guys coming together and becoming better. It's a two-way street. It's about us. I mean, think about partnership. Partnership is about two people coming together to create.
To put their heads together to create a magnificent thing, to create a partnership that works together, to create a life that grows together, to produce. Even in business, two partners come together to produce something great. And to me, the problem is that we think that this other person is going to make me great. They're going to fix all of this that's wrong with me. Like you said, when you come in, everything about me is supposed to be better because you're supposed to make it better. You're supposed to make me feel better. In the whatever insecurities I have, you're supposed to feel them. Whatever voids I have, whatever self-esteem I have, it's your responsibility to make that better, to make it stronger. It's your.
I mean, that's a hard burden to put on anybody.
It is.
I mean, why would you put a burden if you say you love someone? Why would you put a burden like that on them? I mean, you really think about it. I mean, let's be real about it. I mean, that can be a selfish motive for you to expect somebody to fix you, and fix you and all the drama you ever had, you know, all the relationships, all the trauma, all the things you ever been through in your life. You expecting this one person to come fix it because the last person cheated on you. The last person, you know, now you're raising your child by yourself, and now you're expecting this one person to come and fix all those things, and even carrying this baggage that you've been holding on to, been holding on baggage for the last 20 years.
Yes.
You've been holding on this baggage, and you want this person to come.
Now they got to carry it for you.
This is the thing. You don't really want them to help you get rid of the baggage.
You want them to help you.
Yeah, carry this for me. Yeah, carry my bags for me. And, you know, to take the pressure off, but now they're holding the burden that was originally yours, instead of letting it go, finding ways like, man, let's let this thing go.
Absolutely. And I think that the Hollywood persona presents that, because when we talk about the movies, that's what it does. Boy meets girl, and boy comes in or girl comes in, whichever character it is, they come in and they fix everything. Right. Everything is better. Everything lines up because they are there, and they carry the burden of the deceased spouse. They carry the burden of the kids that were broken before they got there. They carry the burden of putting the family back together. They carry the burden of the daddy who walked away. They carry the burden of your insecurities and your brokenness, because you're not dealing with them, but they're dealing with them. And they deal with them, but they have this magic power to make them better.
Think that's what makes marriage dangerous, because the thing about it, now I'm expecting you to fix me. I'm expecting you to make me whole. I'm expecting you to make me better than what I am. I want you to make me feel good. I mean, Jada's saying it, saying, "Oh, you don't make them happy," and I believe that's a problem. I believe those are expectations that we're putting on somebody else. And don't get me wrong, I do believe in the relationship. Yes. If you're grinding, if you're making it happen, if you have a sense of happiness, and you're meeting somebody, you know, your soulmate, somebody to come in,
they're contributing to what is good in your life.
Right.
They're contributing to what is good in your life.
That's a perfect
But
example.
They're not there to make you happy. They're not there to make you whole, but they should contribute to it. It should not decrease because they're there. They are contributing to it, but they're not the end all, begin all. And I think the thing is that a lot of times, even in the movies and the persona that we have, is that this one person has to be everything to me. They have to be my lover, my friend, my spouse, my therapist, my best friend, for some relationships, a person, some aspects of your spouse, they will be a lot of things to you, but they cannot fix those things for you. You know, if you have a emptiness, a void or something, your spouse is not able to fill that void. It has to be whatever it is that caused that emptiness or caused that void has to be dealt with before you can expect them to fill the void, to fill the emptiness, to be everything to you. And some of us say that my spouse is everything to me. My spouse is a lot of things to me, but he cannot be everything to me because that's impossible. And you know, because of what we believe, I believe that God is everything to me. My spouse plays a lot of roles, and he has a lot of different hats that he wears in the relationship or in regards to us. So in regards to the way I see him, he wears a lot of hats, but I cannot expect him to be the answer to everything.
So here it is. We do realize that there is an issue. So we have three R's on today. We have 3 R's on today that we want to share with you. You know, how to get away from this type of perspective, and you know,
get some R and R in your relationship.
Right, exactly. So what's number 1?
So number 1 is real or realistic.
Realistic. Okay.
So
help us.
It's important for you to have realistic expectations.
Right.
For you to have real or realistic views. For you to have real or realistic desires.
So basically, you have to back to life, back to reality. Exactly. Exactly. You have to. I mean, we have to really look at reality. I mean, it's just like, okay, that's TV, but this is reality. I mean, this is not. I'm not Snow White.
He's not the prince.
Exactly.
And even if wait a minute, I'm sorry. He is your prince, and she is your princess. He's your king, and you are his queen. But there is no script to say how your courtship shall work or how your marriage or your relationship is going to work out. And the thing about it is that when we have unrealistic expectation, unrealistic views, and unrealistic desires, you're going to always be frustrated. You're going to always be let down. You're going to always be disappointed. And no matter how good your spouse is or what good they do, you're going to always find something wrong with it. No matter how well it's working, you're going to always feel like it can be better. You're going to have the whole, I didn't feel happy. I didn't feel fulfilled. I didn't feel this. I didn't feel that. Because if my expectations of my husband are unrealistic, there's no way for him to meet them. If I expect him to be the answer to everything and have the answer for everything, there's going to be a problem, because there's going to be that thing that presents itself that he doesn't have the answer to. There's going to be that space in my life that he is not the answer to, and that's when the problem is going to present itself. So I have to be realistic. What role you play in my life, with what you are able to do for me and what you are able to do or contribute to the relationship. I have to be realistic about what I desire, what I want, and what I expect from you.
And you have to be realistic about your reality.
Yeah.
And this is the thing. This is what most of us don't understand, even in our marriage, or for that matter, any relationship. The fact of the reality. We have the power. We have the power to create. If you don't like your reality, change it. You know, let's create your own story of what you want your marriage to be. The thing about it, no matter where your marriage, no matter where your relationship is right now, you have the power to change the ending of the story. That's your responsibility. You have the power to change the narrative. You have the power. Us and our relationship. We have the power. We have the power. We have the power to change our relationship from where it was to where it is now, from surviving to thriving. We have the power to do that. We have the power to do that. The same way Hollywood have the power to make the story and end it however they want it to be, we have that same power and responsibility. You be your own producer of your marriage.
Absolutely.
You be your own storyteller. You tell the story. Don't follow the story of what Mrs. and Mr. Smith, that story. You follow your own story of Cinderella. I mean, we learned it from when we were kids. I mean, we don't have to follow those stories. Create your own story, The Princess and the Frog or whatever. I mean, Beauty and the Beast. I mean, all these great stories that we love, Freeze, all these great stories, The Lion King. I mean, all these, everything
has a romantic connotation. Yeah, we love those things.
Because, right, but we can create our own.
Because it speaks.
Create your own Lion King.
It creates an idea for us, and we, with our realistic expectations, let me tell you something. When you have, and this is not about you lowering standards. This is not about you taking anything or saying, oh, I'm being realistic. It is what it is. No, this is about when you're expecting more from a person than they can humanly give to you. And sometimes that is the issue for us. We are expecting more from someone than they can give to us. I can't expect him to fix a broken wound from my past that he doesn't even know exists, that he did not create, that he has no understanding of.
Even if I knew it exists, I can't fix it.
Exactly, and that's because it has nothing to do with you.
That's why, and there's some things that she can't help me with.
Exactly.
That's why I have a God, because I refuse to make her my God. She's my spouse. She's not my God. And oftentimes we're trying to make our spouse our God.
Yeah, the one that fixes everything, the one that makes everything work together, the one that, and that's not fair to them, and it's not fair to you either, because you're continuing to set yourself up for a letdown.
I mean, you don't have the power. You don't have the power in my life. Ask my wife. You don't have the power in my life in my dark moments to say, "Let there be light." You don't have that type of power. I mean,
I don't have the power. The only thing I can do.
You don't have the. Before you say that, you don't have the power to do it, and I don't expect you to have the power to do it. That's a big problem. We put high expectations. Realistic.
Unrealistic expectations. More than high. They're unrealistic.
It's like, we're talking about being realistic, and that's not realistic when you're trying to get somebody to do something that they're not able to do. You're trying to be somebody to be Superman or Wonder Woman, of all these superheroes that we love. It's not. It's not
the
realistic.
idea. It's unrealistic, and that's what continues to cause detriment to marriage relationships, to relationships, period. It causes detriment because we have unrealistic expectations. So number one, we want to be real or realistic.
All right, so that's good. So number one. So what's number two?
So number two is refocus.
Refocus. Okay, go ahead.
So what we mean by refocus is, if you are in a relationship with a person and you realize that you had these unrealistic expectations, you want to refocus your expectations. You want to refocus on, instead of what you once thought based on what was fed to you about a relationship and how it's supposed to go. What you want to refocus on is, what are the good qualities that person possesses. You want to focus on what is the things that you admire about them. You want to focus on, or refocus, because you realize that your focus was unrealistic, or your ideas or your expectations, your views were unrealistic. Now we've done number one, and we are having realistic expectations. We're having realistic views, realistic desires. Now you want to refocus. What do I admire about my spouse? What good qualities does he possess? What does he do well? What does she do well? What does he bring to the table? What made me desire to have a relationship with this person in the first place? What attracted me to him? What attracted me to him? What was the thing that made me laugh when we first got together? What was the things that made me wanted to snuggle up under him or her? What are the things that made me want to pursue this relationship? What are the things that made me want to receive the person pursuing me? What are the things that made me desire, or the things that pulled me into this relationship? What are those things? And what I think about here is this quote or whatever that we say in leadership: what gets celebrated gets repeated. Yeah. So if you're celebrating what's good,
let's deal with that.
Yeah, if you're celebrating what's good about your spouse and what you admire about your spouse, if you're celebrating what they bring to the table and what they are actually realistically able to give you as a spouse: support, love, understanding, a listening ear, a shoulder to cry on, someone to encourage you. You are focusing on the fact that they can give you those things, and you're focusing on the fact of what they do contribute, and you celebrate that, then it's definitely going to get repeated, and you're going to see it more. And you're going to see it more.
I think that's something that's very important. And I do want to slow down. I want to slow down right here, not hit the brakes, but
let off the gas a little bit.
Because I want us to understand this. This is very, very important. When you're refocusing, it is so important, and it's so true. What gets celebrated gets repeated. It's like, instead of focusing on what your spouse is not doing, focus on what they're doing. Focus on what you do like about them. Focus on what you do like what they're doing. If they can grill and you like when they barbecue, focus on that. Celebrate that. Celebrate. I mean, don't talk about how they leave their shoes all over the floor.
Right.
Celebrate that time they did iron. Or they sprayed the right cologne on, whatever the case may be. It's like celebrating, because we tend to focus on the negative and we disregard the positive. Absolutely. But taking our mind off the negative, you'll be surprised at what that do to your relationship all together. I mean, even your focus, because if you're focusing on all the negative all the time, you're going to have a negative feeling. But if you begin to focus on the positivity, what do I like about this person? Because it's a thing. That's what something attracted you to him.
Absolutely.
It's like, what attracted you to him, that we lose focus and we forget about what attracted to him, because we begin to, going back with these unrealistic expectations. But we have to focus on what attracted you to the individual anyway. Absolutely. What do you love about that person? I mean, their smile. If you love their smile, I mean, tell them. Yeah. Tell them, let them know, like, man, baby, I love when you smile. I guarantee you're going to get more smiles. I guarantee you. If they do something, if they're cutting the grass, tell them how you appreciate how they cut the grass. Brothers, if they're cooking for you, tell them how you appreciate how they're cooking for you. Don't every time they're cooking, you talking about how I don't like this. You put too much salt in it. No, leave that alone, man. Leave that alone. Chill out. Pump the brakes. Pump the brakes and tell them what you do like. Hey, man, you made some bad spaghetti. Spaghettis was off the chain. Tell them, and I guarantee you're going to get more of it. Absolutely. You get more of what you celebrate. And oftentimes we get more of what we don't celebrate,
because that's what we're focused on.
That's what we're focused on.
So we're not or aligning. Re means to reestablish. You were focused on this, but now you changing your focus. So you want to do that, and that goes for sisters, brothers, men, women. Whatever you focus on, you're going to get more of it. If you feel like your spouse doesn't talk enough, then you can encourage them. Focus on the fact that, babe, I love the fact that when we communicate, you listen to me. And make sure you say that more. So he may not be talking, but you're acknowledging that he's listening, and that's giving him the or either I love when you said da 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 da. Whenever you tell me something, it really, really, helps me. It helps me to clear my thoughts. You encourage him the times he does speak, because sometimes if you're thinking about it, you're telling somebody you don't talk. You quiet. We don't talk enough. We need to talk more. But sometimes when they're talking, you're not listening, or you saying you always say that you don't do this. Why are you always doing? And when you say that, it shuts them down.
This
male or female. Male or female.
This happens a lot, and I really want you to, men, women. I mean, it happens a lot in marriages. I mean, we do marriage coaching. I mean, this happens a lot in the relationship where, we say we want somebody to talk, but when they talk, you're not listening. So we have to, you have to refocus. So the thing about it, I mean, just us in our relationship. Absolutely. If you ask me to talk about something, my opinion on something, but I give you my opinion, and
as soon as you start talking 2 seconds in, no, that ain't what. No, because that don't make sense.
I'm not saying anything. I'm like, you know what? In my mind, I'm be like, man, she ain't listening. and I'm gonna just be quiet. And now here's the thing. Now you're upset because now in our relationship we're not talking. We was talking when we first started dating. When we first started dating, you used to call me all the time. But yeah, when I first started calling you, and when I was calling you all the time, you was listening. You wasn't tripping and talking about what I wasn't doing. You wasn't talking about the raggedy car then. Now you're talking about I need a new car. You wasn't talking about it then. Now you're talking about my dirty shoes, but you wasn't talking about it then. It's like, man, hey, you talked about when we were dating, you focused on my good. So continue to focus on my good. Absolutely. Don't get, man. I don't want to go on tangent.
But isn't that something though? Think about this. When we're dating a person, when we're in that spinning, that love story spinning mode, it's like we can only see the good about them.
Right.
But the moment that the ring slides on the finger, or the moment that you've put some time into the relationship, because maybe you don't have the ring yet, but the moment you put some time into the relationship, all of a sudden, and you're getting that spinning moment, that spinning love thing is starting to wear down, because over time that thing becomes normal. And when your life with that person becomes normal, now all you can see is what they don't do.
Yeah.
And that's all you focus on. That's all you talk to them about, is what they don't do.
Right.
But if you don't take the time to encourage what they do, then they're not going to do more of it. Oh, you always fussing. Are you always whatever, you always gone. You never talk. You never do this. You never do that. You never do that. Then that's what you get more of. Because if you think about it, when something is small, when you focus on it, it gets bigger. That's just what it naturally does in our eyes. So what we want you to do, and what we want to encourage you to do, is reshift your focus. Now listen clearly. We're not telling you to pretend like whatever issues you have don't exist. But we're talking about the things that we take that are so small, and we turn it into something big that's an end all, begin all. Right. We're talking about something that can be worked through, something that if we focused on as an individual, something that person could possibly get better at, with some encouragement, with a little bit of push. And I don't mean push like shoving them, but I mean just a little bit of encouragement, just a little bit of understanding. They could be better at it, but to you, it's not. It's just it's not even giving them the opportunity to be better, to find a little bit of good in that, to be able to encourage them to display the beauty of who they are and what they bring to the relationship.
Right. Listen to me. We're talking about refocus. Before we get to our next point, I want you to understand, we are human. We're not perfect. We are going to make mistakes.
Yes, all of us.
We do have our meltdowns.
All of us.
But the issue is, listen to me. The issue is, and this is what I don't want you to do, don't unpack your bags. And don't move in
and stay
there. Get up, call it out, and make a decision and do something different. Say, you know what, I'm here, but this is where we're going.
Absolutely. So number 2 is refocus.
Okay, so what's number 3?
Number 3 is reward.
Reward, unpack that.
Be a gift. Be the gift to your spouse.
Yes.
Be what you can be in the relationship. Do what you can do. Give what you can give. This is about you being, once you've refocused yourself and what you're seeing in your spouse and what you're celebrating about your spouse, now what your desire is to present into the relationship, to bring into the relationship the best version of yourself. Yeah. Work at being your spouse's reward. Work at being what you can be to the relationship. I was thinking about this thing they used to say.
I'm thinking too right now. You better stop. Go ahead.
Be all you can be. They used to say that in the Army. Yeah. Be all you can be in the Army. But we're talking about be all you can be in your marriage. And this is something that I personally do, and I know my husband does, but I'm speaking on myself. I even have a prayer that I have written out, and I pray to God to help me to be the best spouse that I can be. Help me to be the kind of wife that my husband can be proud to call his wife. Help me to be the kind of wife that when things are going awry for him, I am the reward that he comes home to. I am the thing that he finds comfort in. And not Not that I'm the answer to that thing, but I'm there to support him through it. I'm there to stand beside him while he recovers from it. I'm there to hold his hand and let him know we're going to get through this together, or tomorrow will be better. I pray that I am the reward for him. It's not about him being, I don't pray that he's the reward for me. I pray that I'm the reward for him, because I truly believe, you will hear us say this over and over and over.
But here's the thing. Because you are that way with me.
I know, and that's where I was finna go.
Because you're that way, but because you're that way with me,
then you reciprocate the same thing. Exactly.
And I do the same thing. It's like I'm trying to. It's like, because I get so much reward out of being
the reward for you. Exactly.
It's like, man, I want to give. What can I do? How can I bring the best version of myself to this marriage?
Yes.
You know, what I love about it, and listen, we're sharing this with you because you can do it too. Listen to me. What we do, she's bringing the best to the table. I'm bringing the best to the table. I go to work, I leave. When I come home, I want to come home and I want to hang out with her. I want to chill with her. I want to,
and me too.
And the biggest problem we have right now is we got so much work to do. And it's like, man, we just want to be around it. We just want to be around each other. Like, man, we gotta, like, us being around each other and loving up on each other. I mean, that's not gonna pay the bills. It's not gonna pay the bills.
It's not gonna help, and it's not gonna help us live out our purpose.
Right, exactly. So we have to stop. We have to stop. We have to say, okay, the phone calls and kind of settle down on that. And like, okay, man,
it's time for work.
Yeah,
it's time for ministry. It's time to be a blessing to someone else. It's time to help someone else. Somebody else, something else needs our attention.
It is so amazing of being fulfilled. I mean, I really encourage that thought process and that mindset towards each and every one of you that are listening on today. I really just the whole thing, looking at it. I mean, this is, once you refocus, looking at the reward of it,
as a reward, be the reward.
I am a gift to my wife.
I'm a gift to my husband.
I'm a gift to you. I'm a gift to you, and I'm gonna be the best gift I can.
Exactly, because think about a gift. A gift. I mean, if you think about, just get in your mind, so far, the best gift you have ever received, and I'm saying tangible things or material things, because that's the way, it can help bring clarity to what I'm saying. But think about a gift that someone gave you. That was something that you was like, oh, this is the best thing I could have ever gotten. That's the way you want to be to your spouse. That's what you want to present in your relationship. That's what you want to give. You want to give the best of yourself. And it's about your view on it, and not, it's about your view on it, but it's also about what they receive from you, because you could think that I'm what I'm doing is a gift to them, but it's about, we always talk about this on the Marriage Coach podcast. It's about you. The only way a relationship can be better, the only way a marriage can be better, is each individual person. It takes two. Each individual person is working at presenting and being a gift to the other person. Yes. And I'm not focused on him. I'm focused on me. But he's focused on him. And he's focused on being a gift. I'm focused on being a gift. That makes our marriage a greater gift. That's the whole point. I'm focused on being the best of me. He's focused on being the best of him, which makes your marriage better. Yeah. I'm focused on being all that I can be. He's focused on being all that he can be. So our marriage is all that it can be.
Yeah. Hollywood teaches us what we can get. Being the gift and the reward is showing what you can give.
Yeah. Wow.
No.
That's awesome. I love that. I love that. I love that. And what we do is we continue to work it. In order for me to be the reward for my husband, I have to continue to do the work on Sean, the work on Shante. I continue to do the work on me to be the reward. I continue to present the reward because I'm continuing to do the work.
But check this out though, man. What? The work is so rewarding. I mean, the work is rewarding.
Yeah, because I'm getting better. I'm getting better.
You getting better. I'm getting better. But the relationship is getting better.
Yes.
It's getting better.
I love it. I love it.
And I totally agree. There is no such thing as a perfect marriage.
Come on,
But
tell the
there
truth.
is marriages that can get better.
Absolutely.
Over time, it can get
Absolutely.
better. It's not perfect. And matter of fact, I wouldn't dare ever say in my life that we have a perfect marriage.
No, we do not.
Because
Because
if
we're
I
not
ever
perfect
said,
people.
but if I ever said we have a perfect marriage, then I say our marriage don't have any room for improvement. And I know without a shadow of a doubt.
Everything has room for improvement.
Exactly.
Everything can be better. It doesn't matter what it is, it can be better.
Right.
It can be better. There's something that'll be the cherry on top.
Right. You know, just helping shift the perspective,
shift the focus
of how we see marriages.
Absolutely.
You know, it's shifting the focus on not looking at marriage on what I can get,
but what I can give. Absolutely. Absolutely. And listen, we're not downing Hollywood. We're not downing the love stories.
I love the movies.
We watched a great one last night. Watch your love stories. Watch your great movies. All of that is awesome. Snuggle up. Watch your movies. Quiet, quality time with your significant other. That's awesome. What we're saying is, remember, when you see these things on TV, or even if you're looking from someone else's marriage through social media, you are getting a glimpse of something. And for Hollywood, you're getting a scripted view. It has been predetermined what the person will wear, how they'll walk in the door, how they'll walk out the door, what they would do, what they would say. All of that is pre-scripted.
But you know,
and life is not that way for us, because we have the tools that we have now, and because we have the mindset and the growth within ourselves, right, then we revisit those things and we recover. And so when I'm looking at a couple on Facebook, I don't look at it from a standpoint that, oh, they faking and they just giving me this scripted part. No, that's a glimpse into their lives. That's not their whole story. That's just a glimpse into their lives. So right now they're at dinner or they're celebrating their anniversary, and this is great, but they're not going to, because that's not what people do on social media. They're not going to post a picture of them working through the conflict. They're not going to post a picture of them working through the disappointment. They're not going to post a picture of them working on refocusing their view on their relationship or refocus. But those are the things that you have to know. Same thing we're telling you about the movies. The movies they're awesome. They feed a certain thing. We love them. But there's a part of you that has to know. You know, when your kids watch a movie, they see somebody jump off a building. You don't want your child to believe that that's true. They can jump off the building. So there's a part of you that has to help them understand this is made up. Yeah, this is scripted, it's written out. Absolutely. The end result is already determined. They know what's going to happen before the credits roll. That's not how life is. Yeah. So because that's not how life is, you have to take that with a grain of salt and understand, whether it's another couple on social media or it's a love story on a Hollywood movie, it's only a glimpse of what something is, or a fraction of what something could possibly be. The highlights is what we mainly see, not the lowlights, because we keep the lowlights. We working on that behind the scenes. And that's one of the things where you said about us on the show, on the Marriage Coach podcast, the plan is to begin to show, share more of the things that we work through, more of the, okay, this happened with us this week and this is how we work through it. Yeah. Sharing more of that so that you can get to, so, you know, when they do it for a movie, they call it behind the scenes. And so that's what we want to present to you as well, some of the behind the scenes, so that as you see, Cedric and Shante have realistic expectations. They have realistic desires. They have realistic views. They had to refocus. They had to refocus to get those realistic views. And now they work towards being each other's reward. But at the same time, although I'm working towards being his reward and I've refocused my view on him and our relationship and what our relationship means, I also still have to realize that there's more to it than that. There's still some behind the scenes that has to be worked on. Yeah. There's still some things that, you have a whole, behind the movie, you have a whole set, crew, costumes, makeup, cameras, all of this, directors, producers, writers, all that. And the truth of the matter is all of those things have a metaphor in our lives. There's work behind the scenes going on so that I can present a better relationship and not present to people, present before each other so that I can walk out a better life, so that I can walk out a better marriage. There's work going on behind the scenes.
Yeah. And I definitely encourage anybody, we don't have to look like, you don't have to look like it's successful.
No,
we
we
have the power to make it
to be successful, And to be successful does not come without work and does not come without overcoming things. It doesn't.
Exactly. So let's do a recap.
Okay.
So what's number one?
So number one is to be real or realistic.
All right. What's number two?
Number two is to refocus.
All right. What's number three?
And number three is to be the reward. If you like this podcast, we would like to encourage you to give us a big thumbs up.
Yes.
If you are listening to us on iTunes, we encourage you to rate the podcast and share on social media with all your friends. If you have enjoyed our podcast, if you've listened to us before, if this sounds like information that is helpful to you, then we encourage you to subscribe and click and turn on the notification buttons so that you will be notified when we upload a new video every single week.
So we want to thank you for joining us today on the Marriage Coach Podcast. Looking forward to hanging out with you again on next week as we continue
to help you take your relationship from surviving to thriving. Bye. See you next week.